welcome to our Screencast-O-Matic PD. I would like for you to first take a look at this first slide and jot down your initial thoughts when you're looking at this picture. So whatever jumps into your mind as you're looking, just kind of jot that down and we will talk about it in just a second. Thank you, and we will take about 10 seconds to share with your table mates. And anyone that would like to share out with whole group, you certainly can at this time. All right, great. Thanks for your great feedback. So let's talk about the learning outcomes of this professional development session. By the end of this, I would like for everyone here to be able to record themselves using Screencast-O-Matic, giving a response to a prompt that I give you. I would also like for everyone to be able to brainstorm at least 2 ways that they can use Screencast-O-Matic in their own classroom. So whatever projects or special activities that you do, how can you use this tool to get those things done? All right, so Screencast-O-Matic, what is it? What is the purpose of it? So Screencast-O-Matic is a digital tool that allows you to record yourself or your students to record themselves and then to save the recording online. You can use just your screen to record. You can use the webcam and screen at the same time so the students or whoever you're presenting to can see you as well as your screen. Or you can just use the webcam feature, which allows the audience to see you only. So this can be used by both teachers and students. So even your kids can use it for turning in their work or special assignments. And there are a few different ways that you can save your recordings. You can save it on your Screencast-O-Matic account if you choose to create one. You can save your video on YouTube, on your YouTube account. And we all have one of those through Duplin County Schools. I don't know if you guys knew that. Or you can just save it to your computer and you'll have that on your computer. So next, why should we use Screencast-O-Matic? So as you all know, for the next school year, we're going to have built-in digital learning days. And of course, I'm sure those are going to fall, during times when we need to be giving direct instruction, giving mini lessons, those kinds of things. So Screencast-O-Matic is a great way for us to still give content, even though we're not physically with the students. So I really plan to use Screencast-O-Matic on those digital days because I know I'm going to be right in the middle of something and I'm going to need to teach a mini lesson or I'm going to need to review a mini lesson that I've already done. So Screencast-O-Matic is going to allow me to do that thing, to review that thing and stay on track in my classroom. I won't have to come up with something kind of off the wall for the kids to do. I can stick to my schedule. Screencast-O-Matic also will help us to simplify some of the things that we already do. So we're already using Google Classroom and some of us are using Canvas, and we want to be able to get that digital content out and we want it to be good and we want it to be up to our standards, but sometimes it's really hard to find stuff like that online and really tailor it to fit our students. So instead of us searching for hours and hours and hours, things that we're going to share with our kids, things that we feel like are up to par, we can record our own videos and the kids can watch it and we know we're getting that rich instruction that they need, and it's really going to be tailored to our specific students because we created it. Another thing, research has shown that students feel that the recordings help them learn. They're able to go back and they're able to rewatch. If they're not fully grasping a concept, they can simply review the video until they do. So even as a tool to help with in-class instruction, we can give a mini lesson on something and still record maybe like an enrichment mini lesson or a further review. And so they've got the mini lesson in person, but then they're going to go back and get that enrichment or that review online, and they can watch it as many times as they need it. So that's a really cool function with Screencast-O-Matic. And another piece of research has shown that the 4 Ps are really good for students using digital tools. The first is place. That means that students can pick wherever they want to learn. They have the flexibility to choose the location, the place that works best for them. Some kids may like going to a library. Some kids may like, chilling in their room while they're watching videos. Every person has, their own place that they feel the most comfortable doing things like that. The second P is pace. So students can choose the time that they do their lessons. So it's really tailored to fit their schedule. A lot of our kids have responsibilities at home. They're taking care of younger siblings and helping them do the things that they need to do. So the pace is going to allow them to go their own pace, to really do those lessons, watch those videos when they can. The third P is peace, and that's when students can choose the time in which their learning happens, a moment that they're at peace, a moment that's quiet and most appropriate for learning. So again, some of those kids that have responsibilities at home, maybe younger brother, younger sister has gone to bed, and they have that moment of peace, and they say, okay, now I can focus on this. So that peace is important. And the last P is process. So students can choose how they go about selecting their learning process and what's most suitable for them. So if they know that these videos are going to help them and they really need to watch each video 3 times before they really get it, they have the freedom to do that. That's their process. Whereas other kids, they may grasp it after the first video and they've got it down pat. So that's the process. It's really tailored to the students. They can watch the videos however many times they need to, whatever they need to do to make sure that they're fully understanding the concepts that we're teaching or reviewing. So I'm sure you're asking yourself, okay, well, this is all, fine and great, but how am I going to use this in my grade? So I've gotten some curricular examples, and it's just from grade spans. But there are definitely things that each and every grade and subject can use this for. So first, we're going to talk about K2. K2 has a big focus on fluency and reading aloud and children being able to read on those, alphabetical levels by the time they leave kindergarten, leave first grade, leave second grade. So Screencast-O-Matic in the hands of your students can really help you with those read alouds. They can partner up. So if you need them to do a fluency assessment, they can partner up. They can help each other with the technical things. So one child can start the recording, the other child can start reading. Their partner stops the recording when they stop reading, and then they switch. So this is really going to help the teacher to really have more time in the day. The teacher isn't necessarily going to be tethered to listening to every child read live. The child can read, and then the teacher can watch it during planning, in a spare moment at home, wherever. So they're still having that assessment, but it's not necessarily that they're sitting down with a teacher and reading out loud to the teacher. Another thing this would be really cool for, I think, is when you have your parent conferences, you have the recording of their child reading. So you can have a recording from the beginning of the year, a recording from the middle of the year, and a recording from the end of the year. And you can show that parent how that child has progressed. And that's really going to help to build the confidence in the student as well, because they're going to see how they've progressed as well. So another thing this would help with too is with our small group instruction. Every grade span does small group instruction. But if you have that recording of that child reading, then you can really compare them to the other children and say, okay, well, I see these strengths in these group of children, and I see these weaknesses. So these would really benefit from this kind of small group instruction. So you're really taking more time to analyze that read aloud and to figure out, okay, what really are the strengths and weaknesses of each and every child? And you're kind of using that to shape and mold your small group instruction. Alrighty. Next we have 3-5. Starting in grade 3 and moving on up, Students are expected to be able to summarize and recount stories that they've read or have been read to them. And this is a big standard. I teach 7th grade, and children have to be able to summarize even in 7th grade. So even in 7th grade, they're still working on it. So Screencast-O-Matic, again, in the hands of your students, is going to help you to really assess those skills. So you can have a read aloud that you do with your class. Then you can have students in groups of 2 or 3 get together. They can record each other summarizing, recounting the story, and it could even really be a group project. You can put 2 or 3 students together. They can work on what they're going to say and then record themselves, and then you've got a recording that you can watch in your planning, that you can watch after school, whenever you need to, whenever fits best. And again, this too can be used as an assessment tool for both your whole group instruction and your small group instruction. So even in those small groups, if you have a skill that you're working on with them and you want to have a recording that you can watch later, maybe it's a super busy day with all the crazy things that we have going on at our school. But you can have them record themselves and then you can watch it later and really focus your mind on that and just that. And that will help you to fully assess those strengths and weaknesses, just like in K2. All right, so for the next minute, we're going to take a brain break because I've given you a lot of information all at one time. So let's just take a minute, talk to your table mates about anything. It doesn't have to be this PD session. It doesn't have to be school, whatever you would like. So just take a second and talk to your table mates. All right, so moving on. Now we're getting to our 6th through 8th grade span. And I think that these kids will probably have the most freedom with it in terms of the tool being in the students' hands. Middle schoolers are tech savvy. They really know what they're doing when it comes to technology. So the first example that I thought of was the 8th grade poetry read. A lot of you know that we were not able to have the poetry read in person this year because of COVID-19, and Miss Terry Smith had her students record themselves, and then she inserted it into a PowerPoint, which is great. That's a great way to do it, but Screencast-O-Matic could have been used, and those kids could have displayed their poem just like I'm displaying my PowerPoint, and they could have recorded themselves just like I'm recording myself and sent that to Miss Terry Smith. She could have uploaded the whole video, and it would have been a lot simpler on her end. Another activity that we can use Screencast-O-Matic with is the 6th grade red carpet event. They weren't able to give their presentations to their parents in the really fun and neat way that they do this year also. And they recorded themselves. I'm not sure what platform they used, but they definitely could have used Screencast-O-Matic and had their, they could have used a presentation of some sort or just used the webcam feature, either one, and then showed the videos to their parents, or even posted them in Class Dojo or on Google Classroom as a way for parents to see the things that they're doing. So there are lots of different ways that Screencast-O-Matic can be used. I personally used it during our digital instruction this year to continue my read alouds. I felt so bad because we got out of school and I was right in the middle of reading a really good book to my kids, and I was like, oh man, they have to be able to finish this book. They are gonna want to finish this book. They were all pretty invested in it. So I found Screencast-O-Matic. I had used it in graduate school before, and I was like, this is the perfect way for us to finish our book and maybe even read another one. So I would record a chapter at the time and I would post it on my Google Classroom, and I would really get into the reading just like I would in the classroom. And I think a lot of the kids enjoyed being able to finish the book. And when we finished that book, I gave them 2 choices. I said that we could read The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, or we could read The Giver. Well, of course, we had a tie. Half and half wanted to read each book. So it worked out great because I could. So again, I was able to really cater to those children's wants. Half wanted The Chronicles of Narnia, half wanted The Giver. So I was able to use Screencast-O-Matic to record myself reading both, and then they could watch the one that they wanted to read. So it really worked out great for the digital learning. So I know you're asking yourself, how do I go about creating a screencast-o-matic? So here is the website, screencast-o-matic.com. I'm going to share this presentation out later, and you'll have, this is a direct link to the website. So when you get there, it'll look like this. You'll see the login or sign up. It's free. You do not have to create an account to create a video though. So what I do is I come down here to this blue button that says start recording for free, and I click that, and it takes you to this screen. So the screen will change. It looks very similar, but the buttons will be different. So you'll see here launch free recorder. You can also pay to have an account with Screencast-O-Matic, and it opens more options for you. Your videos can be longer. You have more tools in your videos. So far, I've only used the free version. That seems to work out pretty well for what I use it for. So I don't see the need in paying for it if I don't really need to use it. I may get to that point eventually. I'm not sure. So you're going to click on Launch Free Recorder. And it may ask you up here at the top of your page if you want to really open or launch the free recorder, and you'll just click allow or open or launch, whatever your computer says. And then when it opens, it will look like this. So it's going to have this black and white dashed line box around it. You'll see your options at the top. You'll have record, settings, and cancel. Under record, you'll have your different areas where you can choose just your screen, just your webcam, or both, like I'm using. You can also change how much time you want to record. You can change the size of your video. You can change your audio input. If you just want to use your laptop, you can. If you have a special microphone that you like to use, you can do that too. So then you are going to actually start your video. So once you have your content ready, you're going to click record. It will count down from 3 to kind of give you a time to get yourself together. So it'll count down from 3 and it'll say go. And once it says go, your timer here will start, and you just start with whatever information you want to present or whatever book you're reading. Then when you're done, you have everything you want to say down, you click record again, and that stops the recording. So the play button right beside the record button will allow you to listen to your recording, make sure that you said the things that you wanted to say, make sure that your audio and your video are working properly, that the children are going to be able to hear you or see you if they need to. If you don't want to watch the whole thing, you just kind of want to check through it randomly, you can use this fast forward or rewind button. That's a really great tool to use. If you know that you messed up and you just want to go ahead and get rid of the recording, you can hit the trash can button. That's going to delete it, and it will ask you whether or not you want to really delete it, so you can confirm that if you press it accidentally. And then this last button is done. When you press done, this little box will pop up, and it'll say, okay, what's next? What do you want to do with this recording now that you're done with it? So you can save it and you can upload it. You can quick share it, which means that you can have one click and you can upload it, go ahead and copy and paste it to wherever you want. And then you can edit the video. So if you like the recording, but there's like this one little part in the middle that you want to get rid of, then you can edit that the video. You can cut it out. You can zoom in on a place that you want to zoom in, add text to your video, all those things. Typically what I do is I save and upload. That just seems to be the easiest, quickest way to go about doing that. I'm going to move this up so you can see it. So then once you've clicked save and upload, it'll ask where you want to save it to. And this screen will pop up kind of in a different browser because it's like that video. So you can save it as a video file to your computer. You can save to Screencast-O-Matic if you have an account, or you can save to YouTube. Typically what I do is I save to YouTube because that YouTube account is tethered to my employment at Duplin County Schools. So I know that there's really no point in me saving it as a video file on my computer because eventually, you know, this computer could crash. We may get a new computer. So I don't want to have to worry with going back in and saving all my videos later. You can save with Screencast-O-Matic. I just chose not to, just as a personal thing. I know that YouTube account will always be there as long as I'm employed with Duplin County Schools. So I always just upload to YouTube, and then I can directly share that link to the video with my students. I can post it in my Google Classroom. I can post it on Canvas, wherever I want to post it, and it's a direct link. They don't need any kind of sign-in. They don't need anything but a device and internet to watch it. So that's typically what I do. So does anybody have any questions as of right now? Okay, great. So for the next thing I want you to do, we're actually going to do a hands-on activity. We're going to get to the nitty-gritty of it. So with your table mates, I want you to work together to create a recording using Screencast-O-Matic, and I want you to respond to this prompt. I want you to describe an activity that you remember from when you were in the grade that you currently teach. So if you teach 8th grade, think about an activity that you did in 8th grade. If you teach 2nd grade, think about something that you did in 2nd grade. So what grade were you in? Who was your teacher? And why does this activity stand out in your mind? So take a few minutes. You may want to brainstorm it a little bit, talk with your table mates about how you want to go about making your video, and then using your laptops, you can go ahead and record for free. All right, great. I heard some great conversation about the things that you did when you were in the grade that you taught and why that thing stood out to you, so I'm really excited. If you all will email me those videos that you saved, and I'm going to give you my email in just a second. So email me that one too. So again, the learning outcomes, I want you to be able to record yourself using Screencast-O-Matic giving a response to a prompt, which you just did with your table mates. And I want you to brainstorm at least 2 ways that Screencast-O-Matic can be used in your own classroom. So we're going to have an activity in just a second where you do that. But first, I want to talk about how I'm going to support you. So I use this a lot in my classroom. I'm a huge proponent for things like this. It takes a lot of work off of my plate. Instead of presenting something 4 times in every single class, I can present it 1 time, record that presentation, and then my kids can watch it, and they can watch it as many times as they need to. If they're still not understanding it, they can come to me for clarity. But it's a great way for me to say things 1 time and not have to present 4 different times a day. And plus, during that time when kids are watching the video, I can be doing other things. Like I can be calling kids back to my desk. I can be working with small groups. So it really fits into my classroom and the things that I'm trying to do and the changes that I'm trying to make, I guess I could say. So as a way to support you in this, you are free to email me, contact me anytime about Screencast-O-Matic. If you want to bounce around ideas, if you're having trouble, let me know. I'm also going to be doing bi-weekly check-ins. So I want to know how you're using Screencast-O-Matic in your classroom. Are the kids using it? Are you using it? Are you using it for math, science? What are you doing? How are you doing it? Because the more we share, the more people can use it and the more people are going to be comfortable using it. And that's what we want. We want people to be able to use these tools, to have these tools in their toolbox, and really engage students in this digital format of instruction. All right, so for your exit ticket, I want you to create, save, and email a Screencast-O-Matic recording answering the following questions, and there's my email, so I want you to email both to me. For the group work, only 1 person has to email that to me. Whoever recorded it on their laptop, please email that to me as well. So in this video, I want everybody to make their own. I want you to describe at least 2 ways that you can use Screencast-O-Matic in your own classroom. Maybe you're thinking of some ideas that you have, like, oh, I teach this unit on weather, and I could really use Screencast-O-Matic during that unit. Or maybe I'm teaching this, the Pythagorean theorem, and I want to make a short video that's like a mini lesson for how to teach that. So brainstorm at least 2 ways that you can use this in your own classroom. Next, list one thing that I can do to improve when I'm presenting information. I want some honest feedback. Tell me how I could improve my presentation. And then 3, describe one thing that you still wonder about in regards to Screencast-O-Matic. So maybe you're a little confused on something. Maybe you're not sure logistically how you're going to work it in. So tell me about one thing that you are still wondering about, and shoot that to me in an email. All right, once you have your video emailed to me, you can go ahead and go. Thank you guys. This PD session has been great. If you need any help, if you have any issues, please let me know. I'll be checking in with you briefly in just a couple of weeks. So have a great afternoon.